Hello, welcome to day 4. The week's nearly over. It is absolutely flying by. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you found it. Has it been a little bit overwhelming perhaps? And you felt you needed a little bit of a slower pace, or are you smashing through it? Lots of you have been uploading what you've been working on into the Facebook group, and it's been fantastic to see those breakthrough moments and those discoveries of things that are fueling that anxiety that we feel stuck, with our choices and how we're living, and the anxiety is fueling the thought process with our present day. So day 4, I like this one. This is one of my personal favorites. It really helped me when I was struggling and trying to figure out how to move forward and what exactly I was going to do to be able to move forward. Focusing on the can, focusing on the how, and forgetting about those things that we could do absolutely nothing about was a huge step forward, because it's wasted headspace and energy when you constantly turn over and over and over and over on those elements of things that are blocking us, that we've got no control over. We can't control other people, we can't control certain things that happen in our world, in our lives. So to overthink and spend days, weeks, months, with it eating up and causing that tummy ache, that knot in the stomach, the pains in the chest, and that overwhelming and anxious feeling, we need to let that go. There's nothing we can do about it. So it's all about reframing the thought process, focusing on the can. I personally love this one. So thinking about this, we need to break it down. So what I'm about to share with you will help you to do that. And then the task in the group, the Facebook group, will help you also. You'll be able to ask yourself some questions and then just get it out on paper. Everything is much clearer on paper. It's like a brain dump, so to speak. It's clearing that head fog, because when you get out of here onto paper, you can see it. It's more focused, and you're not desperately scrambling around all those thoughts and images that you've got going on inside here, and those emotions. You can focus and see what's on the paper, and then think, right, okay, nothing I can do about that, but there's something I can do about this. And you start to begin to move forward. And the more and more you do this as a thought process, the more natural it will become, and you won't even think about it. A natural go-to behavior when you're trying to just chunk that information down and get rid of that overwhelm and focus on how to move forward. So I highly recommend you really put some effort and time into this. You're consciously going to have to do it at first, because it's not your natural habit at the moment. So I highly recommend you do this daily with everything, the kids, relationships, work, house, everything. Apply this method when you think about what to do next and getting that anxiety to lower. Focusing on the can. So what can you do? Well, you can control your thoughts, so to speak, your mindset, and that takes work. It takes conscious effort, but you can do it. You can implement things, habits, processes to focus on good, positive elements around you to get that mindset into a good place, not stuck in the I can't, I'm not good enough, the feelings of failure, that mum guilt. If you work on your mindset, which you can do, other things start to begin to fall into place, because you feel a lot more able to attack those and deal with those, and things start getting done, and you find your identity again, who you are. You even have time out for yourself. Everything starts to be able to come into play, and you feel confident and able to deal with it. So your mindset is something you can control. Your actions and reactions, you can control those. Sometimes it's very, very hard, especially when someone isn't very nice and you just think, ew. But what do? When you react in a way that is empowering, and you think, well, that's what you want to do, that's what you want to say, and that's how you want to be. I'm going to step away from this, and I'm going to move away and act in a way that I want to. There's no anxiety. There's no room for anxiety. It's empowering. So, thinking about other people and how they can affect us and upset us and affect our day and how we feel about ourselves, we can't control them. We can't make people do things that we want them to do. What you can control is how you react to them. So many scenarios, work colleagues, that can be a very, very common theme, where you work with somebody and you don't click, you clash, and then your everyday working day can be quite stressful with anxiety surrounding it. Your boss could be somebody that really does affect your mental health and how you feel about yourself. Maybe you feel like you're constantly failing. Maybe they make you feel like you're not doing a good enough job and that there's something wrong with you, which is not the way it should be. But it happens. I've been there myself. But what you can do is think, right, okay, that isn't actually true. And I'm going to focus and work on this, and this to make sure that I'm protecting myself, my mindset, my actions, my reactions, so that you can't make me feel like this anymore. And that's how you take control and focus on the can. So how you react to others and those actions. Have a little think as well about your habits. It's very, very easy, isn't it, to pick up bad habits. Like, think about driving. Okay, so you have all your lessons, pass your test, and it's feeding the steering wheel, and you're like this, and a few months later you're like this, and you're like this, and you're just cruising along. And what mirrors, maybe, perhaps I'm not, it shouldn't be that way. Check your mirrors all the time, but you pick up bad habits in your driving, and it's easy done in everything, isn't it? And excuse me, when you're feeling low mood, down on yourself, low confidence, it's very, very easy to stay on the sofa, to stay in a place where you feel safe. Despite being miserable and unhappy in that space, it's your safe place. And so you stay there, and that becomes a habit. Your go-to habit could be chocolate. It's been mine. Whenever I feel down and sad and not sure what to do, I go and eat food. It's my comfort. It's the same with cigarettes. It's the same with alcohol. If you smoke, if you drink, then that is your go-to habit. And it's not a good habit necessarily, is it? We know the dangers and all those elements, and how food can really become a crutch that can affect our health, not in a good way. But it's a habit we've created because we're feeling so low. So what we want to do is work on what habits we can do that actually are going to benefit us, and that are going to be able to allow us to focus on moving forward. So instead of going to the chocolate, what else can you do instead? You can do something that you're passionate about. Physically do something. Like with me, I play the piano, I craft, I journal, I go to the stables. I never used to do any of this, after I had my third child, none of that existed at all. I always used to say I didn't have time to do that, I can't do it. But then over time and implementing these methods that I share with you, I was able to get into a place focusing on the can and making it happen and making it my new go-to habit. So when I feel down or low, I have a number of things that I turn to help me to create that very much needed headspace. So think about that with yourself. What habits can you create? What can you control when it comes to your habits? Break those old ones that keep you stuck, keep you feeling anxious, and then think about habits that you can do that are going to move you forward away from that anxiety. So things that you can't control, like I've said, what other people say, do, or think, it's not going to happen. You can't do anything about what they do, what others do, what others say. So don't try. It's wasted energy, and it will fuel your anxiety because you're hitting your head on a brick wall. It's an impossible task. So don't do it. The thoughts that pop into your head, okay? So, there's things all over the place. Social media, the news, the media in general, everywhere you turn, bus stops, posters, all sorts of areas that you turn to where unconsciously you're taking in information. And it's information about the world around us, what's going on with us, what's going around. Look at the pandemic, look at COVID. I had to turn it off at the beginning because I went into such a dark place, such a fearful, dark place, thanks to the news and the media about COVID and the pandemic and my children. And are they going to be okay? It was horrific. And in the end, I turned it off, and it made a huge difference because I could turn the telly off. I can't control what's on the telly, but I can control what I watch. And I can control, turning that TV off, changing the channel, watching something fun like Friends, something that was uplifting, and not feeding my head with all this horrific pain and negativity. And it made a huge difference, but all because of those elements around us that influence us unconsciously. These thoughts do pop into our head. So take control, think about how you can deal with those and change things. You can't control what's around you. You can't control what other people sort of portray on the environment around you. But what you can do is think how to react to it again and what you can do differently so that you're not soaking up all that negativity and those, fueling those fears. It's very, very, very hard, isn't it? And we're all very, very different and unique and deal with things in different ways. But one tiny sentence, I can find that okay to hear and listen and see, yet my friend could be on the floor in pure panic and unsure what to do next from that same sentence. So those things going on around us affect us massively, and we can't unfortunately control what that is all the time, but you can control how you deal with it and what you necessarily can do to move away. Natural disasters, death, illness, we all have experiences losing friends, loved ones, family members. It's awful, it's heartbreaking and incredibly painful. We can't unfortunately control it. We can't control your age. You can't control what's happening with you, everything gets older, everything starts going south. And we can't do anything about it. But what you can do is think, right, okay, yeah, I'm getting older. Yeah, everything's pointing south a bit, but I could perhaps do these exercises or go for a few more walks or eat perhaps a little bit more healthier to help me age in a way that I feel comfortable. So you're reframing and thinking, you're bringing all these thoughts to the conscious and you're thinking, right, okay, yeah, I can't control it. I can't control any of these elements, but what can I do about it? What can I do about moving forward with my age, with death and loss and natural disasters? It's like with COVID, so many of us have been so fearful to step outside and start living life again. And so we haven't. And then you're very, very anxious, you're very worried, you have panic attacks, feel very, very overwhelmed in spaces where there are other people, and we tend to not go. But if you think about what you can do, social distancing, washing your hands, wearing a mask, maybe avoid those heavily public spaces for now while you build the confidence up. But don't lose life to it. I've worked on this myself, and I want to live. I want my children to live, and COVID's not going anywhere. So I focus on the can and I put it into place, and I still go and do what it is I want to do. So that's how you reframe the can't in life in all areas, especially losing a loved one. That can be really, really hard and challenging, but allow yourself the time to feel and grieve and process what's gone on. It's going to be painful. It's a horrible thing to lose somebody, but don't lose years and years and years of your living to a passing of someone who's been close to you. You want to start focusing, at a certain point, how you can still move forward. Time is a great healer, but too much time is not a good thing. So many people that I've spoken to, it's been like 15 years since they've lost somebody, and it's been a traumatic passing as well, which doesn't help, does it? That unfortunately happened with us, with my mother-in-law. It was horrific. It was so fast and so painful and so traumatizing, and it's taken a long time for my husband to sort of come to terms with it. And if I'm being honest, he hasn't. He says he has, but I personally don't think he has. But I can't control him. I can only control how I react. Everyone's different, but you don't want to lose lots and lots of time to it. You don't want to lose living life with your family and what you're doing. So you just focus on what you can do to move forward. So what I want you to do now is go to the free Facebook group, have a look at the PDF. You can download and print, or you can just turn to your journal, notebook, get brain dumping. Just ask yourself these questions that are in the task, and then have a look. You have a column with a can and a can't, okay, 2 columns, and you write down in each, okay, what it is you can't control that's going on around you. So you may want to refer back to Monday with the root causes to your anxiety. Start there. What is on there that's fueling your anxiety? And when thinking about that, what can't you do about it? What can you do about it? And when you see on paper that, you'll be like, oh my goodness, okay, another light bulb moment, and I can move forward with this, and this is exactly what I need to do, what I want to do, and how I can do it. And upload it in the group and share with us, and I will definitely have a look at that and help with feedback. If there's any blocks at all, ask me anything and just tag me when you do. And then join me tonight, 8 o'clock UK time, and we will, have our usual Q&A session and see what's come to the surface through this task. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the group. Take it easy.